Let's take a look at how to use offline mode with 3DEXPERIENCE SOLIDWORKS, so we can use 3DEXPERIENCE SOLIDWORKS when not connected to the internet. The first thing to realize is that it's a planned offline mode, so you have to know that you're going to be working offline. The first thing that we need to do is go into the compass and create a desktop shortcut for SOLIDWORKS. That way we can launch SOLIDWORKS when we're not connected to the internet. Simply grab the drop down beside the SOLIDWORKS connected icon and tell it to create a desktop shortcut. This will allow us to launch SOLIDWORKS when we're not connected to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. Now what we have to do is open SOLIDWORKS and access the files that we plan to use while we're offline. Again, it's a planned offline mode, and if you're going to access files that are in the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, you need to make sure that they're copied down to your local PC before you go offline. That way you have access to them when you're not connected to the internet. Okay, once SOLIDWORKS is launched, you can access the files in whatever manner that you'd like. I'm going to go ahead and just use my bookmark editor inside of SOLIDWORKS, which is kind of like a file explorer. Okay, so it has all my demo folders as bookmarks, and we're going to go ahead and browse in and just grab one of my assemblies. And from the bookmark editor, we can just drag and drop the assembly to open it in SOLIDWORKS. Now in the background, this will copy all the files for this assembly down to my local cache. This is what's needed to work in offline mode in 3DEXPERIENCE SOLIDWORKS. Okay. Once those are copied down, now we need to make sure that we lock any files that we're going to work on while we're offline. That way nobody else connected to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform can make any changes to files that we're going to be changing while we're offline. So you need to make sure you lock these files so that you have ownership of them. Once this is done, we can go ahead and close the assembly. We don't need it anymore. To go into offline mode, just simply click on your icon of your picture and tell it you want to work offline. It'll give you a reminder here to grab the files that you want, and then another reminder that if you're using any other apps like Simulia or Delmia, whether or not you want to use those while you're offline. For me, I'm just going to use SOLIDWORKS, so we'll just tell it yes, go offline with just SOLIDWORKS. Now in the background, SOLIDWORKS is going to go ahead and make sure that it has the license, has everything that it needs, and it's going to temporarily get rid of the 3DEXPERIENCE task pane because we won't be able to use that while we're offline. It'll come back with a message telling us we're working offline. That's all the more that we need to do. Now we can close SOLIDWORKS. When we're offline, we launch SOLIDWORKS from the desktop shortcut we created. And it will start up just like any other session of SOLIDWORKS. The only difference is we no longer have the 3DEXPERIENCE task pane, but we do have access to our local cache explorer in the task pane. And this is what I recommend using to access the files. You can open any files that you copied down and make any changes to them as long as you have them locked. You can also create any new files that are needed. If you need to build an assembly and add new files, we can do that as well. Once that's done and you've made all your changes while you're offline and you connect to the internet, to go back online, just uncheck the Work Offline icon, and it will reconnect to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform, and then we'll now be able to save any changes that we made back up to the platform. As you can see, the 3DEXPERIENCE icon will come back up in our task pane, and it'll connect to a collaborative space that we were using when we were last connected. And then once we're connected, we can simply browse back into our local cache explorer, open up any of the assemblies to which we made changes, and save them back up to the 3DEXPERIENCE platform. And that's how we use offline mode with 3DEXPERIENCE SOLIDWORKS.